Hey everyone, I thought I'd do a tutorial today about how to make a cyclical animation with a couple objects along a path. This is something I had to sort out recently for some client work, so I thought I would make a quick tutorial. Starting off here, you can see I have a couple of objects that I made and a path in our scene. If you want to add a new path, go to Curve and Path. We'll go into edit mode here. You can see the direction of the path if we switch to top with the 7 key on my number pad. You can see the direction the path is going. You can see I have a sphere. Normally what you do with the path is parent the objects to the path and tell them to follow the path, but instead we're going to go over here to our constraints panel and we're going to add an object constraint. Go down to follow path. And now you can see we have this picker, and we can pick the path that we want the object to follow, and it'll snap to the beginning of the path. You want to do follow curve, which if you change and make a curved path, it will follow it, and fix position. And sometimes that will snap your object to a point outside the path. Just go into your top view again and make sure it's lined up. Now here's the important part for animating along the path. It's the offset value. So 0 is at the beginning and 1 is all the way at the other end. You can keyframe it by pressing the I key when you hover over it. Now you'll see you have a keyframe on frame 1 in our timeline here. We'll scrub forward 40 frames and we'll turn that offset all the way up to 1, and we'll, with the I key, set another keyframe. Now we have 2 keyframes. You can go back and forth on your path. The problem is it ends after that initial animation. So now what we're going to do is go to Graph Editor, and with both your keyframes selected, if they're not selected, you can press A, and then Shift E and make cyclic. Now you can see on our curves here that every time it reaches the end, it'll cycle back to the beginning. And the cool thing about using the graph editor, you can scale it independently of the path if you want to make a different animation. And the other cool thing is with the graph editor, you can use these handles to change your animation curve. So now the circle speed up in the middle, and it will animate not just linearly, but you can have a curve going on in the loop as well. Select our torus, we'll add the same constraint, parent it to the path, follow, fix position, and we'll have to correct this as well. R, 90. And then I'll just line it up with the beginning of the path with G and Y. We'll be getting on the G axis, the Y axis rather. Now we'll animate the torus as well. Setting that offset to 1 again at the end of our animation. We'll go into our graph editor again. With both our keyframes selected, Shift E, make cyclic, and now we have torus going cyclically as well in that default animation without playing with the curves at all. Now you can grab both of your keyframes and scale them so you can determine how many cycles you want to happen in the frame range that you're working with. You can also, under the modifier, select when the frames start cycling, so you can delay the start of it if you want to. And now we have both of these with a little animation curve going on. Make it a little more dynamic. You can also select just one keyframe if you want the animation to be slower and press G and X and move it along the X axis in the graph editor to make your animation slow down. Another cool thing about this is if you add points to your path with E and extruding and you make a new curve, your objects will maintain their offset and they will also follow that new curve, as you can see with the sphere here. But you have to be careful because your animation will have to go a lot faster in order to make it to the end of the offset cycle in the time that you've specified. So you will have to go in and tweak your curves so that it animates in the appropriate amount of time. If you have an issue like this where it's not making the full offset, sometimes the offset gets off and you just have to go back in and move the offset up to 1 again where you want it to end and keyframe it again. I'll go over the highlighted keyframe, move the offset all the way up, press I again to replace that keyframe, so now the torus will go all the way to the end. The other thing you can do is you can shift D and copy your path or add a new path. You can make it whatever shape you want. Then you can select one of your objects, X out of that target in its constraint, pick the new one, and it will automatically jump over and be constrained to your new path. And after playing around for a little bit and adding some more paths, here is my final result. I hope you like it. I hope it's helpful to you. If you would like to learn more about animation or using animation curves or learning Blender, check out some of the affiliate links below where you can buy the Blender manual or buy a couple of recommended books on animation. They'll help support my channel and I can make more videos. Thank you so much, and please subscribe.